I'd like to tell you about a show of epic proportions. I prefer me some magic when I'm trying to get in and out of houses undetected. I prefer me some magic. A show where the boundaries are pushed.
I like spam. Is there something wrong with that?
No, nothing at all. I'll meat with jelly on top of it. Go right ahead.
I'd like to tell you about that show, but that is not this show. This show is the Fortean Slip with host Chris York.
I have a tendency to go to dark places with my humor. It is what it is. It's not going to change anytime soon.
Co-host Steve Alcorn.
It was so earth-shaking and mind-blowing that even John Teeter in the future knows about it.
And reoccurring, ever-present special guest Matt Knapp.
Yeah, somebody should have put out like a giant bug zapper and just ended that whole Mothman debacle.
A show that lacks taste, a filter, and listeners.
Are you listening? Are you like hearing the fucking fart?
Yeah.
You're not just smelling it, you're hearing
Not just smelling. Audible as well.
That would be something else.
Whoa.
But
you
well,
have
I do.
parts that you can't tell if it was you or not.
Well, yeah, because
What you are about to hear may be offensive, but we don't really give a fuck.
What the fuck is up? Welcome to the Fortean Slip. This is episode 31. Do werewolves dream of shapeshifting sheep? Joining me tonight are Mutt and Jeff.
is that the epic title that you came up
That's
with?
the epic title that I fucking came up with. Go fuck yourself.
I like it.
Yeah. You know you chuckled though.
I
At
did.
least a little.
I did. But it was kind of a fucked up deal because right as you said the title, I was actually reading some very heartbreaking news.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
I would just like to announce that it's been reported that Mickey Rooney is dead.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Ooh.
I'm a huge Mickey Rooney fan.
Well, I knew you would be, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
Would you have eaten a Spam sandwich with Mickey Rooney?
I would have eaten a Spam sandwich with Mickey Rooney.
Awesome.
I liked Mickey Rooney too. He was in what was it, The Black Stallion? Anybody else recall that movie?
I wasn't a huge Mickey Rooney fan. I'm aware of the man.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is.
It's a loss. Died at the age of 93.
Hey, he lived a life.
Lived a life.
That's right. But yeah, tonight we delve into the world of shapeshifters.
Shifters of shape.
Shifters of shape.
Bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay. No, that's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, that's a different type of dog, man. I mean, I know myself, I'm not a huge fan of this, I guess you could say, branch of cryptozoology.
What?
I'm just not. I
love this
No,
branch.
listen, yeah. Hey, I love me a good werewolf story. Don't get me wrong. I grew up on that fucking Fox TV show, Werewolves.
Oh yeah,
Like that shit. And
that was great.
yeah, I mean, The Howling was big when I was a kid.
American Werewolf in
Yeah,
London.
the list goes on and on. I read a ton of books about werewolves, but to actually spend time thinking that dogmen / werewolves are a real biological entity, I mean, it's just not anything that crosses my mind a lot. You know, I have heard some fantastical stories. As a matter of fact, there was a friend of mine here locally that told me, and I'm actually trying to get in touch with the lady who had the sighting, but she swears she saw something that looked like a dog man. And I honestly will say, you know, I don't buy that that's what it was. I think it might have been some type of misidentification, but you know, she saw something that was like that was on, you know, went down on four legs, ran, and then it was up on two. But
We had a similar sighting here last year of, well, it came across as a Bigfoot sighting, but in the description that I was given privately, it was more like a dog man. But it was seen right outside of a taxidermy shop, and you know how that works.
well, I tend to think with the one that was relayed to me that it's one of those cases of just misidentification, that because it went down on four legs that they assume that it was a dog type creature, you know. But
It's a dog.
yeah, it's
man.
it's a dog. Wow, it's crazy, Matt.
I don't know. I'm kind of one of those left fielders on this one.
Yeah, I know you
I
love
have
this.
to
You
admit
love
that.
this one.
I think there might be something to it.
What the
You don't like the Chupacabra, but you like the dog man.
I don't like the Chupacabra.
fucking
but I
he
like
hates the
dog
Chupacabra.
man. Well, okay. Let me give a little bit of an explanation. If you're involved in Bigfoot, you eventually cross paths with a dogman story.
All the
Right.
time, yeah.
And werewolf stories date back eons. Now, whenever I first got involved in Bigfoot, I came up with this little idea in my head. You know what? I bet werewolf stories were based on Bigfoot accounts a long time ago. Because of the possible, it's all possible and theoretical, but let's just say that Bigfoot does make vocalizations in the middle of the night, and you got this large man-like beast on two legs covered in hair. There's a good chance that people might have associated that with a wolf man or a dog man type creature.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Native American legends around here and other places, the Nalusa Philea, which translates to like long evil being, and it's basically a Bigfoot type creature, but it has like a snout and claws, and you start getting into that aspect of it. Now, I do not believe that there's people out there who can change into werewolves. That's not what I'm saying. But with the stories of the Wendigo, where it kind of matches the description of a dogman, but it also kind of matches the description of a Bigfoot, and then you've got all these different sighting reports and personal accounts. There's Bigfoot reports are number one, but number two is actually dogmen in the United States. So that's something to think about. Like possibly there's another type of Bigfoot type creature out there that's just even more rare than the other Bigfoot.
That's something that I was going to bring up. Wasn't it David Batdorf that posted that picture one day of the differences in primate faces?
I believe so, yeah.
And you know, you've got some that are their faces are very snout-like.
Right.
But and others where their faces are like very flat like ours. But they run the gamut.
Right. And there's an area in Oklahoma that's known for its dogmen stories, not its Bigfoot stories. And it's freaky stuff, man. It really is. And I actually took down a sighting report of one of these creatures from, with all, just put it out there, it was from a teenage kid.
Right.
But it was right after it had taken place, like literally within 15 minutes. And this kid was shook. And he was a kid from the country. and him and I knew the parent of his friend. So they were out camping on the property. I happened to be talking to her on the computer at the time. They come into the house. They're all freaked out. I get on the phone and I'm talking to this kid. And basically they were out camping. They heard things walking around the tent. They heard whistling. They got a little freaked out. Now, this is an area known for Bigfoot activity as well. Well, they decided to haul ass to the house. There was like 3 or 4 of them, I think. There's 3 of them, and they had a 4-wheeler. And this kid was sitting next to the other kid on the back of the 4-wheeler, and he was holding an ice chest in his lap. And they're going down the trail back to the house. There's like trees on each side of the trail, so like limbs are, you know, not overhanging the trail, but the trail was wide enough, obviously, for the 4-wheeler to fit down. They weren't like slapping limbs as they're riding down the trail. There's a reason I'm saying all that. And he felt a tug at the ice chest, and he thought it was getting hung up on a limb, and it started to pull away from him, so he yelled for the kid to stop the 4-wheeler. So the kid stops the 4-wheeler, and I think the ice chest might have fallen off of his lap onto the ground or something. And the guy is, you know, he's got the 4-wheeler stopped, the lights are on, he's got the brake on. The kid grabs the ice chest and he sits back down on the 4-wheeler and he looks up and he's looking at the stomach area of something on the trail directly behind them. And he just kind of follows it, you know, uses his eyes, follows it up. And this big, huge beast is like looming over him just a few feet away on the trail, looking down at him and the other kid. And at that point in time, the 4-wheeler starts to go again, and this thing just stands there in the middle of the trail. Well, the kid described it covered in hair, brown hair, standing on 2 legs, but the best shot he got was of the upper, like a bust shot, basically, the chest, shoulders, and head. And he said he didn't notice any ears poking up or anything like that, but the thing had what he described was a snout or a muzzle on it. And he said there was hair on the muzzle, and he could see canine teeth sticking out, overlapping the bottom lip. And it looked like the muzzle had mud or something on it and was caking the hair back. Well, I thought of the possibility it was probably dried blood, but I didn't tell the kid that. So I sent him a bunch of photographs of different animals with snouts on them, like dogs, you know, wolves, things like that. And the one he actually picked out was the baboon snout, which, you know, was kind of curious that he would pick that one over, like, you know, dogs and wolves and things like that. And he said that the thing that freaked him out the most about it, and the kid was like 16 at the time, I think, and, you know, you could tell he was like on the verge of crying as he's relating the story to me. He's just shaking. He's terrified of what he saw. And he said, you know, I've never seen a Bigfoot, but I've heard them described to me, and you know, my dad saw one out here, and like, I believe they're out here, but this thing didn't look like what people describe. It's not supposed to look like that. And he just kept on repeating, it's not supposed to look like that. So whatever he saw obviously terrified him. And it obviously had physical features that were different than everything he had heard about a Bigfoot.
So are you thinking, Matt, that it was a different type of Bigfoot, or it was a whole separate, you know, dogman maybe type creature? Obviously it wasn't a dog, but more baboon-like.
Right. I tend to think that they're more of like, honestly, what the stories of the Wendigo is based off of. I think they are, I hate to, you know, people are going to ridicule me for it, but I think they're another type of Bigfoot that might be possibly close enough that they can breed with them, or it's a possibility that this is a genetic trait that has become dormant, and possibly due to inbreeding in some circles, it has come back out.
Well, that was my other question, Matt. There's a lot of reports out of Michigan and Wisconsin, Bray Road area and all that.
Right.
And they seem to be localized.
Right.
So inbreeding would make sense for that because, mutations and things like that occur when you have a small population. So I wonder if that's the case.
It might be, or they might not exist at all. He might have been looking at a bear and just thinking Bigfoot, and it scared the crap out of him. I don't know. I just know that the kid saw something and he was terrified from it. Right. And I know that there's enough stories of these type creatures out there, enough sighting reports of them, that it's worth looking into to some degree.
Well, that was my question earlier when I was looking into it, was about the locality of these sightings. They seem to be clustered. They don't seem to be spread across. Bigfoot sightings are everywhere, pretty much.
Right, but with these, you seem to have little pockets of them here and there.
Right. So it would make more sense.
This report came from Texas. That's where the kid was at. And there have been other sighting reports in Texas of a dogman type thing. There's one guy who worked for the county picking up roadkill. And he saw one digging roadkill out of the back of his truck and even talked about it on a local news station down there. And then this is eastern Texas we're talking about, which borders Louisiana. And then once you get right there into Louisiana, you're talking about the Rougarou. They have a history of dogmen type creatures there.
So we have less photographic evidence of the dogman type creatures than we do of Bigfoot, of course. Is that because they're more rare? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, a lot of people debate the Beast of Seven Shoots photo.
Yeah, well, probably rightfully so. It's hard to make anything out of that photo.
Right. But other than that, you really don't have much of any photographic evidence of these things.
Well, the best evidence we had for a long time would have been the Gable film, but that's been obviously proven.
Right.
Right. Well, it's obviously been proven to be a prank, a hoax, So
yeah, that was a pretty fucking elaborate hoax too.
It was pretty impressive too.
Like he went through and like made sure like all the stuff looked old, like or was old, so it looked like it was an old film.
Right.
And oh god,
he sold that.
It almost like when I first saw that, it like almost got me. I was like, what the fuck? But I knew something.
It got me.
It got me too.
It got me. And I mean, like, I remember whenever it came out, and in the Bigfoot community, it was all over the place, and nobody could debunk it. Like, you saw things on that film that looked like things that weren't what they actually were. I mean, it turned out just to be a guy in a ghillie suit.
Yeah. And that's crazy. And all he did was just run on the ground on all fours.
Right.
He did a good job.
You have people out there, certain names that I won't mention, that make YouTube videos talking about how they're a professional and they've been involved in, computer effects industry and just all this sort of thing, and they're an expert, and it's really difficult to hoax videos, and most of these Bigfoot videos aren't hoaxes because people don't realize how much effort and money it costs to actually hoax something like that, or a guy with an old camera in a junkyard and a ghillie suit can do it.
Right.
Right. Well, I think we'd still be debating that film if he hadn't come out and admitted it.
Yeah. If he hadn't released the second part.
Yeah, if he hadn't fucking come clean, man, the people would still be calling. They would be calling that the new like Patterson Gimlin footage of something fucking freaky.
Something fucking scary.
Because you can't it obviously wouldn't fall into like the Bigfoot category, but that's exactly where that video would have gone, to that status.
Right. Eventually it would have. And it turns out it was just a radio show prank, basically.
Yeah, that was the best.
I still haven't never heard that song, though. There was a song that they created about the dog man or something, and I've never heard it. So if anybody has the link for that, shoot it off to me.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, as far as werewolves are concerned,
The Werewolves in London?
yeah, cool concept. It's kind of like a comic book character in my mind, or a movie character, even though it predates all that stuff. But physically changing form from a scientific aspect, I just don't see that happening.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very cool idea. Like, yeah. As a fictional story, fucking love it. Love me some
And
werewolves.
a lot of different places do have their own versions of the shapeshifter,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from everywhere in the world. It must be something ingrained in the human psyche that we're afraid of.
So if you can shift shapes, why the fuck would you choose to be a dog? Why would you give yourself a dog face? Or is that the only shape you can shift to? Is that how that works?
I don't believe it's a choice.
Okay. So they're shapeshifters, but they can only shift to one thing.
A shapeshifter is a generalized term to describe a human that can shape and shift into an animal of some kind.
Okay. But they only get one
Creature, or
choice.
whatever you want to call it.
One choice, that's it. Yeah, that's all you get, Steve.
Just one.
Like you with spam, is one
Okay,
choice.
okay, Steve. If you could decide, what would you shift into?
I don't know.
After his
It would
fucking
take
choice,
some
after his
thought.
choice of movies to watch, I'd say a vagina.
Now, come on. I enjoyed the movie,
A frog by chance?
No. Steve sat down and watched Frozen. I asked him if his balls turned into labia and his penis turned into a clitoris.
Well, I must
What's-
add,
what's Frozen?
it's a Disney movie. It's about princesses. You guys say that I'm not involved in pop culture enough, so I watched a newly released movie.
It's that piece of shit that everybody's doing the parody videos of, right?
It was a
Everybody's
good
like
movie.
singing the songs out of it or
Yeah,
something?
the songs.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I
I
see nothing
told
wrong with
Steve I have an 8-year-old daughter and I've managed to avoid this fucking film.
Yeah.
Well, I must add that I have no.
Yes,
8-year-old
you
daughter.
don't have
Why
a
would
daughter.
you add that?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you add
My fucking
the
point
fact that you don't have a
exactly.
young daughter?
I have a 13-year-old son, but he didn't watch it with me.
Wow. All
I
right.
like the movie. I'm sorry, I liked it,
Yeah.
and I'm still vaginaless.
Says you.
Sans
and
vagina.
and before I segue into the news, because I know that most of the people that are the douchebags don't listen this far into the show anyway. There's only one person on this show that gets fucking high. The other two are completely sober.
Yeah, but we're not going to tell you which person that is.
Anybody that listens will know the answer to that.
Is there
and-
something going on that I don't know about?
Chris,
What's that?
they're all gonna think it's
Why
me.
why does this keep on getting brought up? Is there somebody saying something,
I
or
don't fucking.
on
Yeah.
some
No,
YouTube
it fucking.
song.
You got a bunch of fucking stoners. It fucking chew on my bag for fuck's sake.
some douche mouth?
Yeah, you know what it is. Steve, don't you have some news?
Okay, and our first story from fox6now.com and a bunch of other news sources around the interwebs. A Mississippi couple has a possible close encounter of the third kind. Rainier and Edith Shaddles were shocked when their trail cameras caught images of a strange light appearing in the sky over their Jackson County home. The pictures show the bright light falling upon a deer. The light appears to come out of nowhere. At first I was trying to see if it was something, or a reason for what we were seeing, but the more we looked at it, the more we realized it was something that was in the air. It was something that I had never seen before. If it's alien, I'm not sure about that, but it's definitely
if you go to
UFO.
youtube.com/parabreakdown, he'll ruin it for you.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's a government drone or what, I wish, if nothing else, one of them would step up and say, yeah, that's ours. It's a puzzle that may never be solved, and it's one that's kind of fun,
it's already been solved.
Or it will take Bill pulling a Parabreakdown 1 hour. 58 minutes of which took him to find the video to begin with.
That cocksucker ruins everything for everybody.
I haven't seen the Parabreakdown video, so let me read the story. And
Swamp Thing found 10 minutes later. Parabreakdown.
Yeah. He's releasing breakdowns of shit that hasn't come out yet.
He's like the Minority Report of fucking breakdowns.
I'm not even going to finish the story. You guys ruined it for me. But the couple does admit that they're curious about the object and are enlisting friends to try to help solve the mystery, none of which are Phil Poling.
Whew.
And Matt's
I don't even
favorite
care about that story now.
Albino triplets in his hot tub out on the porch hooked up to wires right now.
When I sent you that link for that, you already knew about the Phil Poling breakdown, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
All right, from TMZ.com. This is an update to a story that we talked about the other day. Chupacabra mystery.
Fuck you, Steve.
The animal won't be tested. Texas can't handle the truth. Move over, grassy knoll. There's a news conspiracy in town. Animal regulators in Texas refuse to necropsy the dead animal some believe to be a chupacabra. Mike Cox, yeah, that's his real name, from the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department tells TMZ there's no reason to perform tests on the raccoon-like animal captured in Ratcliffe,
You want
Texas
me on
this
that
week.
border. You need me on that border. I'd prefer you just said thank you.
I actually agree with Mike Cox. I don't think there's any need to test the dead raccoon.
Yeah.
He said there's no reason to perform tests on the raccoon-like animal captured in Ratcliffe, Texas this week because his agency
Oh, this
has
one's a
determined-
raccoon. It's not a dog this time.
I still think it's a fox, but whatever.
Yeah.
His agency has determined that chupacabras are mythical creatures. TMZ sadly broke the story. The couple that captured the animal, which they named Chupi, had it put down after they were told it was suffering. The know-it-alls convinced them it was a mange-riddled raccoon.
I would like to see the dossier on their research where they determine that chupacabras aren't real, though.
Mm-hmm. So we asked, what is the scientific basis to definitely exclude a chupacabra as a possibility? Cox fired back, there hasn't been a new mammal discovered in centuries. Oh, really?
You just said Cox fired back.
That's what I'm just reading the story. Smithsonian Science announced last August that they had discovered a new species of a mammal called Olinguito.
Which we did a story on the Olinguito. They didn't really discover it. They kind of misplaced the fucking thing because they had one.
Joe Pesci played that role.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So there are still undiscovered treasures in the animal kingdom, even mangy ones. As for the final resting place of Chupi, it's a fireplace mantle. The finders are taking it to a taxidermist.
Shut up.
I'm just reading the story. And
that ugly fucking thing's going to be mounted on their mantle above their fireplace.
You chupacabra motherfucker!
From fearnet.com, does the mythical blood-sucking snallygaster still prowl the skies?
Yes.
I'm sure you've heard of cryptid creatures like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the Jersey Devil, and Mothman. But over in Maryland, there's a mythical beast that you may not be familiar with.
But have you heard about the mythical creature, the ex-wife?
That isn't a myth. Meet the snallygaster, a creature that's perhaps more frightening than all of the aforementioned ones combined. From Wikipedia,
Obviously, they haven't met my ex-wife.
The snallygaster was first spotted by German immigrants way back in the 1730s in Maryland counties of Washington and Frederick.
For her vagina.
Oftentimes,
Oh, that was the smelly gasher. My bad.
oftentimes described as a reptilian bird-like creature with massive wings, a single eyeball, and a giant tentacle. The creature was believed.
What's going on here?
The creature was
It's the
believed to
same
prowl the
thing I
sky.
saw in some Japanese anime porn.
The creature was believed to prowl the skies on the hunt for human victims, plucking them up from the ground, bringing
And
them
fucking
high
them.
up to the hill, surrounding counties, and feeding off their blood. Sightings of the monstrous snallygaster continued through the 1900s, and U.S. President Teddy Roosevelt reportedly considered taking matters into his own hands and hunting down the beast. Though the winged terror hasn't been spotted in some time, 7 pointed stars can still be seen painted at the sides of barns in the area, which were put up there to keep the snallygaster at bay.
Bill Clinton took to arms and tracked one down to his Oval Office.
Who knows? Maybe he's still out there, and maybe he's soaring high above your town as you sit here listening to this bullshit story. And that's the news, fellas.
Wow, that
I added the bullshit part.
was good. Phil Poling, you're fucking welcome for that.
I'm going to have to go to his YouTube channel because I looked all day long and I didn't see that.
Yeah, he literally sent me that right after you sent me this.
And you still allowed me to go through with that.
Of course I did, you fucking dumb son of a bitch.
Thanks.
Aware of the smelly gasher.
This has been episode 31. Do werewolves dream of shape-shifting sheep? I am really fucking proud of that one. Philip Dick would have been proud.
I'm going to be heading over to YouTube. Checking out Para Breakdown. Maybe I should just do that before I come up with the news stories.
Maybe you should let the fucking show end.
Oh, right there it is. Mississippi Trailcam UFO solved.
Fucking Christ.
Bill Poling's got more plugs than Captain Kirk's fucking hairpiece.